Hi, Jewish Mom. So I wanted to share with you an unusual way that I am preparing for the Yamim Noraim this year. I'm getting into the Rosh Hashanah Elul spirit. So I've been listening to I came across a podcast called Ear Hustler. Ear Hustler is a podcast about prison life. And basically they do interviews with people who are incarcerated, in many of them in the San Quentin prison in California. So they interview them in the prison and people who, after they've been released. I just want to say a disclaimer. There's a lot of really not good language, dirty language in this podcast. This is not a haskama from me to say this is a kosher thing to be listening to. But I've personally, for me, it's been very mechazek, very inspiring to listen to it. Listening to people who've done horrendous things. For example, there was a story of somebody who had spent over 30 years in prison, and he was the son of a minister, and he, at the end, when he was a teenager, around 13, he joined a gang in LA where he lived, and he ended up killing a member of another gang when he was, I think, 18. And then in revenge, the other gang killed his 15-year-old brother, who was completely innocent, and his mother, like the pastor's wife. So basically, 30 years later, this Ear Hustler podcast did an interview with this person, and it was, for me, it's very, very powerful to see the ways in which some people who go through this experience, some people who are incarcerated, they go through a deep experience of tshuva, a deep experience of regretting who they were and the way that they behaved that led them to be now incarcerated, so what's interesting is that in these interviews, most of the people, all the people that I'm listening to, they all seem like these people who've deeply done tshuva. The people who've gone to jail, and then like they go and get college degrees in jail, and they go to like support groups, and they go to AA, and they go to like all sorts of ways to have like effective nonviolent communication, all these things in jail, and taking advantage of all the opportunities to do real tshuva and to change and to become better people. And he said, so I was thinking, this is interesting. Is this so like common that people who are like felons, that they end up becoming basically these like really, really good people in these tzaddikim basically in jail. And so this person who was a gang member, 30 years have passed since he killed someone when he was 18. And he said, look, in jail, there's some people who just stay exactly the same. There's some people who say, I'm fine, just this stupid prison system, the stupid judges, and everyone's against me, and they made up stories about me, and da-da-da-da-da. People just kind of stay in like the same thing. But it's amazing to see the people who change, the people who really change. And from listening to these interviews, there's something deeply, deeply wise and deeply good about these people. Seeing people, it's really inspiring to. So for me, like, I've been going through Elul, listening to these podcasts with these prisoners, the prisoners who've done tshuva. So I want to tell you one story, an interesting Ear Hustler episode that had a Jewish twist. So there is in San Francisco, there is a kosher bakery called Frena, and located in a rough part of San Francisco, and they hire people who are ex-convicts, people who were in jail. And So they did. So it's really remarkable. So like they hire basically people who are felons, people who've committed like violent crimes, murder, terrible crimes. So the interviewer came and spoke with Isaac, who's the owner of Frena, of this kosher bakery, and said why are you doing this? Why are you hiring these felons? Like, why are you? Because basically it seems like most of his staff is felons, and there's some in some cases this actually makes difficulty for him, because for the owner, because for example, one person they hired, so he has to spend an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening charging, I think, like the bracelets or whatever, that enable the police to monitor his movements. So it means like he's an employee who like loses 2 hours of work a day. So whatever, it's not an easy thing, and also it's a risk. Like, it's a scary thing, to hire someone who's an ex-felon. So they asked Isaac, so why do you do this? How did this come about? And he said, well, we are a kosher bakery, and we want to be kosher in every way. So the person said, what do you mean? And Isaac said, because in our religion, in Judaism, we believe in tshuva. If a person regrets what they have done and they have changed their ways, then we accept them. That is tshuva, and that is what it means for me to have a kosher bakery. This is the most kosher way, is to accept these people, like these prisoners who are so stigmatized in society. Like, who wants to hire felons? Dafka, the kosher bakery, is hiring the felons. He says, no, that is tshuva. And that's Elul. So I want to bless all of us Jewish moms, that we should be not like the prisoners who are like, I'm okay, and everyone else is bad, it's everyone else's fault, and That we should be like these wise people. We should be like these wise people who look back and say, I can change, I can be better. This year can be better. I've fallen low, I've done this and this and this. I can be better. Okay, Jewish moms, I want to bless you with a Shabbat Shalom.